Hello and welcome to the first maths tutorial. This is going to be how to add, subtract, multiply and divide fractions. It's a grade D topic. First of all, I'm just going to start with a brief introduction to fractions. The technical name for the two numbers, the top number is known as the numerator. The bottom number is known as the denominator. So those are two words that you'll need to know for GCSE, and we'll get on to some calculations. First of all, addition. The first example I've got is 3/4 plus 1/8. What we need here is what we call a common denominator. So what we're going to do is make equivalent fractions, but with both the bottom numbers, the denominators, being the same. The easiest way to do this is to times them together, so that's what I'm going to do. 8 times 4 is 32. So I'm going to put two fractions, 32 as the denominator. Then we move back to the fraction. I need to work out what I did to the number 4 to get to 32. That's quite obvious that we times it by 8. So now what we're going to do is we're going to times this numerator by 8 also. And 3 times 8 is 24. So we'll go plus there because it's an addition problem. Then we move on to this side of the fraction. What do we do to the 8 to make 32? If we times the 4 by 8, we times 8 by 4. So we're going to times this numerator by 4, and 1 times 4 is 4. So that will equal 28 over 32, and that can be simplified down eventually to 7/8. 7/8 is your answer. In a GCSE question, you may be asked to simplify it down to the simplest form, you may not. But either way, you pick up the marks. Okay, let's move on to the second example. We've got 2/9 plus 1/2. And we're going to do exactly the same, find a common denominator, and we're going to do it in exactly the same way, by timesing these two together. 9 times 2 is 18. And then the little plus in the middle. So, with the 9, to get to 18, you have to times 9 by 2. We times the numerator, in this case 2, by 2, which is 4. And also we times 2. To get 18 from 2, you times it by 9, so we're going to times the top. This 1 by 9 to get 9/18. Now it equals 13/18. And you can't simplify that down any further, so that is your answer. Okay, on subtraction. Pretty much the same concept, I do still need a common denominator. And you find the common denominator in exactly the same way. So here I've got 3/9, take away 2/8. And times these together, and that gives me 72. And put the little minus sign there. So, we'll do exactly the same as we did in the addition. What do we times the 9 by to get 72? We times it by this 8. We times the top, the 3 by 8, and 3 times 8 is 24. And then with the 8, we times it by 9 to get 72. So we're going to times this 2 by 9, and have 18. And 24 72s take away 18 72s leaves you with 6 72s. And you can simplify that down further into 3/36 and into 1/12. That'll be your final answer if you were asked to simplify it down. If you weren't asked, then you could get the marks for any of these three. Okay, next example. 7/8 minus 4/5. Do exactly the same, tie the bottom together, and get 40. You draw a common denominator. Now, we know that what we did to this 8 to get 40 is times it by 5. We're going to times 7 by 5, which is 35. Just put my minus in there. And with the 5, to get 40 out of 5, you have to times it by 8. We're going to times the 4 by 8, and 4 times 8 is 32. 35, take 32 40ths equals 3 40ths. And that won't simplify down any further, so that will be your answer. Okay, on to multiplication. In my opinion, multiplication is the easiest one to do, as all you have to do is times the numerators and times the denominators. Couldn't be any simpler. So let's start with the numerators on 2/5 times 3/10. 2 times 3 equals 6, so 6 will be your numerator. 5 times 10 is 50, so you get 50. You could simplify that further if you wanted to, into 3/25, but you can do whatever you want, provided it doesn't tell you to do it in the simplest form. Okay, the next one, a bit more complicated, because it's got more complicated sums, but same concept. 6 times 2 is 12, so 12 is your numerator. 15 times 3 is 45, so that will be your denominator. You can simplify that down. I won't bother writing down the simplifications and work them out yourself, but that is how you do multiplication. Next one, division. This is a bit more complicated than the other three, and to make these more easy I use a process called keep, change and flip. And that's what you do to each of the sections. So for this one, 2/5 divided by 3/10. For the first fraction I'm going to write keep, then the division sign in the middle I'm going to write change, and then on the last one I'm going to write flip. And I'll write below what's going to happen. So 2/5 I'm going to keep 2/5. So over the division sign I have a change. What you change this to is a multiplication sign. And the last one I'm going to flip, so 3/10 will turn into 10/3. So then you do exactly the same as you would with multiplication, times the numerators, times the denominators. Here you have 20/15. You may have noticed, the more eagle-eyed amongst you, that the numerator is larger than the denominator. This is what we call an improper fraction, as the answer will be more than 1. You can either leave this as an improper fraction, or you can change it into what we call a mixed number, so 1 and so many 15ths. Here we know that 15/15 equals 1. So we need to work out what 20/15 is. If 15/15 is 1, then 20/15 will be 5 more 15ths. So the overall answer as a mixed number would be 1 and 5/15, or 1 and 1/3. In your answer, if they ask you to just work it out, then you can put either the improper fraction or either of the mixed numbers. If they ask you to write it as a mixed number or an improper fraction, of course just do one of these. Okay, next one. 6/15 divided by 2/3. Here, so we keep, first one, change, flip. So 6/15, we keep that, change the division to a times, and flip this one into 3/2. So 6 times 3 equals 18. 15 times 2 equals 30. So that's your final answer, or you could simplify it down into 3/5. And that is how you multiply and divide fractions. Tomorrow I will be doing another video on another topic. See you next time.